Nah, it's huge. I think, the English should say the same, that it's such a big series, it's so hyped up. Whichever country you're in, it's just, so you get those added pressures. But yeah, I think it's just the atmosphere around it, the history of it, everything just folds into one unbelievable test series. Whether it was at home or away, I love playing. I think I speak highly all the time about how much I love playing in England, whether it's county cricket or Ashes cricket. So I enjoyed probably the series over here just as much as I did as the ones at home. But yeah, it's going to be huge. I think, the two sides are very strong. Yeah, the Australian side's very experienced, I think, for a side coming over and touring England. It's probably one of our most experienced sides, I reckon. A lot of guys have played a lot of cricket here, know what it's about. A fair few guys now have played county cricket also, so they'll be strong. And I guess you got the excitement of the Bazball era, and underneath Stokesy and Baz leading the show, and they've had a good 18 months sort of resurgence. For once, this is my first proper one over here as a spectator since I first came over in 2009 and played. So, I'm actually looking forward to, just watching, being a spectator. It's going to be an exciting series. There's going to be plenty happening, I reckon. And, I think England are really going to put it to the Aussies.
I want to talk about if there's any memories that stand out for you. I remember a series where you had Kevin Peterson pretty much on toast for it. You're nodding along there, enjoying that memory. Does that stand out for you, or are there any other big moments from Ashes games that really stand out in your mind?
I think lots of different ones throughout the whole time. I guess, we're in England, so I've had a lot over here at different stages, but even just playing my first, like I said, in 2009, my first Ashes series, was just being a part of it was amazing. And it was my first Ashes series in general. It wasn't my first one in England. It was my first overall. So to play my first one away was a bit of an eye-opener. I guess, the take in the media and the fans and the support that the English get over here, and the atmosphere around games was amazing. But yeah, I think, in moments like that, you always want to do well. I think against the best players in the opposition teams, and I guess KP was that for me. That I loved him as a cricketer, so he was the key wicket that I wanted to get out, and lucky enough, I did on a lot of occasions. But at different moments, I think even I just go back to my last series in 19, that first test, going out there when we were in trouble and batting with Steve for a fair few hours, and that partnership, I think that really stands out. I know, I should be talking about bowling, but as all bowlers do, they love their batting, and that's I think that's probably one of my biggest highlights. I think being able to bat with Steve Smith is amazing in itself, because it's obviously great to watch, being out there at the other end, watching him go about the business, but from the situation we're in, being able to contribute some runs, get us a good partnership, and then get us to a good total. It sort of kick-started that series. So, that's one highlight that obviously sticks out. Ashes hat-trick back home in Oz is a massive one. It's probably something I'll cherish a bit more once I'm fully done playing cricket. I think, I still sort of forget that I still play first-class cricket, so you sort of don't reflect as much as I probably do until people like yourself ask me some of these questions.
Quickly reflect on that hat-trick. I know you said you haven't really thought about it much in your career and will do soon, but that was your birthday, wasn't it? Am I right in saying it was on your birthday too? So just talk us through, because there were 3 big wickets. It wasn't like you were mopping up the tail at that point.
No, it was amazing. I'd literally been out for 10 months with stress fracture on my back as well, so it was my first test match back. It was my 26th birthday on that day. First test of the summer. I'd taken a few wickets already, but then the three I got. Obviously, the first 2 are massive ones. Broady's still a good wicket. He's had a great career as a test batter. To get, I think Cookie was on about 70 odd, and then to get Pryor. Funnily enough, everyone talks about me getting KP out. I got Pryor out more in Test cricket, one more time than KP. So obviously still a big wicket. And then Broady, I think you hear the stories now. I think Broady was stuck in the toilet, freshening up, and then a couple of quick wickets fell, and so he had to rush out. But they were important wickets. And the series after that didn't really go to plan, but that day definitely obviously being my birthday, but also first test, hat-trick. It's obviously a massive moment, and something that gets spoken about a lot, but similar to what I said, that you sort of, you just don't worry too much about the past because I'm still playing. I'm a bit more focused on playing and stuff at the moment. But I guess once I'm done and I sit down with friends and family and you look back on the career and stuff like that, I'll really enjoy some of those special moments.
Yeah, some lovely special moments for Australia. I wouldn't be doing my job right if I didn't mention some good moments for England. I want to take you back to 2009, that first series to Cardiff. You won't be surprised to hear me mention, because you were taking loads of wickets, but there was one partnership at the end that just wouldn't break, would it? This is Monty and Jimmy right at the end.
Yeah.
What was going on? What was Ponting saying to you? What was the team thinking in those last sort of hour or so at Cardiff?
Yeah, there wasn't much we could do. I think we're doing everything we could. We're trying everything we could. But we just could not get that wicket. I think you always stay pretty confident, even if there's a partnership for the 10th wicket. You're confident that it's going to break at some stage. So you're like, it's not that big a deal. You just stay on the job. But they just hung in there. We kept rotating bowlers, trying different things. The frustrations of the 12th man running out, slowing up play. It was frustrating, and I guess it probably showed to me how important Ashes cricket was, that like any moment in that series, by just digging in that little bit, can change how the series ends up. And to be fair, it sort of did. We went from being so close and on such a high to it dragging out to a draw. Then we literally rocked up the next test at Lords and we bowled poorly, and England got off to a flying start, and the series was gone in a way. So moments like that can change a test match. As small as it probably looked at the time, Jimmy and Monty just batting for 40 minutes, that's not that big a deal. It probably played a part in, pushing England to start well in that next test and get into competitive position.
Any players that you really think of, I don't know, maybe before you started playing those you grew up watching, or any that you played against that you think, these guys, they've written their history into Ashes folklore? Are there any players that really stand out for you that sort of sum up the Ashes to you?
I think there's lots. Like even as a young kid, going and watching test matches and stuff like that. I think the big one for probably most around my age, and probably most people in general, is that 05 series. I think it gets spoken about a lot. But as it should, it was an unbelievable series. There was ups and downs, McGrath missing a couple of test matches, just so many little things throughout. The fast bowling attack that England had at that time, how strong they were. I think that series, there's little things about individuals as I was growing up, but that one was where it really stood out for me. I think, watching that one, I was, would have been 20 at the time. Seeing that and just I was starting to play state cricket. I'm like, that's what it's all about. I want to play for Australia. I want to play in the Ashes. And I think that's where it started. And then probably even after that, in 2007, back home in Oz, you get the 12th and 13th men that come in and help out around drinks and carry drinks and stuff. And I carried drinks. It was me and Bob Quiney, my Victorian teammate, helped out. Mitch Johnson was 12th man that whole series at the Boxing Day test. So just being there around that group. And obviously then that was the big Australian team. Warren, McGrath, all the big guns. Watching Warney get his 700th wicket, being on the field, more or less, running out the drinks after he got it. Just seeing things like that. Seeing Roy Simons make his first 100 a couple of days later. Moments like that really then made me want it even more. And then funnily enough, I was playing the next Ashes series after that over here. So I think those two series kick-started the desire to really play for Australia the most then, at that age where I was, starting to, start my professional career, to have those little moments happen around that. I think made me want it that little bit more, and and then like you said, to be able to play as many as I did in the end, it was just proud and grateful to get those opportunities, because it is an unbelievable series to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned 2005. We're currently sitting in the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion at Somerset, so it feels relevant, doesn't it? He had a great series at the top of the order. Absolutely, yeah. I want to talk about Jack Leach now. Obviously, your teammate here at Somerset, but some devastating news just before the start of this series that he's not going to be part of it because of that fracture in his back. Firstly, I'm sure you've got some thoughts for Jack, knowing him now for the last couple of years playing at Somerset, so I'll ask you about that. But also, how big a blow do you think that is to England, or how big a bit of good news, is it, for Australia? So first of all, about Jack, how do you feel getting that news?
No, shattered. We've become very close over the last couple of years. We played a bit against each other. Like he started his career end of mine. But yeah, disappointing. Like, you know, we'd had coffees and lunch talking about how excited I was to actually go down and watch him play. Like, as much as I want to watch Australia play, I was nearly more excited to go watch him play in an Ashes series as a spectator, as a fan and as a friend. So I think that for me, it hit home the most there. Just, you know, that he's not going to be there, be a part of it. I know how much he was working hard on getting everything right for that series. Talking to me a bit about the Australians and just about experiences and stuff like that. He's done a superb job for England throughout his career. Yeah, the role he's played under Stokes since he's taken over his captaincy has been huge for the team, and I think that's where the big loss is going to be. Like Bazball or how they're playing the game and all that type of thing. I think it's going to be a bigger loss than they probably think. Initially, everyone will just go, oh, it's just a spin bowler. We can just bring in a spinner. The spinner doesn't bowl much, rah. But, you know, Leachy's bowled a lot earlier under Stokesy. He's bowled in a lot more, you know, tough conditions in his time as captain. So it's not as going to be easily filled and fixed as some might think. Some might just think, just pick a batter and that we can do the job and that'll be fine. Bowl a few part-timers, but yeah, Leachy's played a huge role, and I think his numbers for himself have been the best under Stokesy and over the last 18 months in his career. So yeah, I think it's a massive blow for England. Obviously a big benefit for Australia. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people probably understand as much at the moment how big a hole it's going to leave, because Leachy's numbers and everything and his contributions over the Stokes-Baz era has been quite significant. So, definitely going to be a big plus for Australia.
Yeah, sad news for Jack, and we wish him all the best.
News,
yeah. What's it like in Australia now, the build-up? Are they worried about Bazball? Because they would have seen this for the last 18 months, England winning pretty much every series, or they drew against New Zealand, but winning those games in the style that they're winning these things. Are they worried, or are they thinking, we'd love to have a go at that, actually? We'd love to put our bowlers up against them, you know, trying to hit every ball.
They won't be fearing it. They'll be prepared for it. I think, you know, that's probably the one benefit that Australia's got where the Ashes sits, is the fact that you've seen 18 months of it. You know how they go about it. You know how they play. You know where the individuals are going to score. So I guess the preparations are a lot easier to do than they probably have been for previous teams, because it's just been so off the cuff. And yeah, I think everyone was shocked with it at first. It was like, what's going on here? Whereas now we know what's happening. There's probably a lot more planning going into that, whether it's, you know, bowling plans, field placements, all that type of thing. So one thing we always was very well prepared. We always had the information. We'd done all the analysis. So I know the boys will know what to do. But then the next thing is how to handle it when you get out in the field. And I don't think anyone knows how that's going to happen and how that's going to go. So I think that's going to be the real test. I know, the boys will be ready for it, but once it actually happens, how ready are you? So that's going to be the test for them, and I think that's where the biggest strength's going to be. Is, you know, got to think fast. You got to change plans. You got to have different ideas. You're going to have a lot of options. Bowlers have to be ready to bowl a bit more frequently, maybe not as long spells. So all that type of thing, it turns into a little bit like a white ball game, T20 one-day cricket. You know, the landscape's changed. So I think that's where the real test is going to be, when they're actually out in the middle, in the heat of it, and it's happening. Yeah.
Super exciting, isn't it? Cannot wait to see how this one pans out. Well, look, it's great speaking to you. Just before I finish, I want to talk about David Warner as well, who said that he's going to retire. You'd have played alongside him a fair bit. When you look back on his career, obviously a lot of controversy in there as well, but what will that mean to Australia and to Australian fans, do you think, that what he's done at the top of the order for Australia? Yeah,
it's been amazing. I think just someone to be able to do it in all three formats. The aggressive style that he plays with, I think, you know, we saw him hit the stage. I think it was against South Africa at the MCG in a T20. He smacked it that night, and I don't think at that time many people probably would have thought he would have played one Test match, let alone 100. So to be able to, you know, played 100 Test matches, be one of our greatest openers ever in all formats it's a phenomenal record, and I don't think people probably probably respected as much as it probably has. You know, he's probably had we know he's had his struggles a little bit in the Test arena over the last couple of years, but you know, he's still got added value around the field. He hustles around the field. He's a good catcher. He's fast. Very good fielder. Obviously a lot of experience. He's played against a lot of guys, so he's obviously a good sounding board for information against different opposition. So we know Davey, he'd definitely be hungry to do well. That's something he's never short of. If there's ever a time that he's gonna do it, now's the time to where he could just unleash. So it's probably going to go one way or the other, and it's probably going to be exciting either way.